dust storm, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Jedi and bounty hunters sitting down for a conversation. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe. And of course, with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
We just waiting for a giant marshmallow man to come down the street now, or what?
Yep. It is summer, so marshmallows are a thing.
Oh, this is true. This is true. Campfires. Yeah.
Yes. Things that make summer great.
Yes.
So, Pedro, Pascal, and Ewan McGregor sat down for a chat.
That they did do.
And I gotta say, Variety is kicking StarWars.com's ass on this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is, I don't know, this is a really good idea. Apparently this has been going on for a while, huh? But
yeah, but it takes this for us to notice.
I know, exactly. You get some Star Wars actors in there, and it's like, oh, this is a good idea. Yeah.
I gotta say, like, I'm watching this interview, and you know what it reminds me of is panels at Celebration. Like,
right.
Things like that. And why this isn't a thing on StarWars.com, at least on a periodic basis. Come on.
Exactly. I mean, they could they could contact these actors. They have this whole roster of actors that they could, like, it's funny. You can tell that these guys are into each other's work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many of the Star Wars actors are the same way about all the other Star Wars actors. Why not do this? I mean, you're so right when you say this is something they need to be doing. So I hope they're paying attention.
Like, I expect to see Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford next week, StarWars.com. Make it happen.
That's never going to happen, right?
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Now, Mark Hamill and anybody else, yeah, that might, but, I don't see Harrison Ford, yeah, I'll be there, no.
Curmudgeon. You want me to do what?
Yeah. I'm busy. But yeah.
I'm working on the fun franchise.
Yeah.
He always seems more into Indiana Jones.
I have to agree. He does seem to like that better.
I think he does enjoy playing that character more. Like,
yeah, well, it's it definitely brings out the adventurer in you, That's how I always felt about it. It's like I always wanted to go dig up the backyard when I was a kid. So
well, he's the star, right?
Yeah.
It's his story.
That's true. That is true.
They finally made a Han Solo story without him.
Right. Good point. Finally come around to this idea. I'm too old.
But yes, anyway, Pedro
Yeah.
Pascal and Ewan McGregor.
Yes. So, it's basically cool. They were kind of interviewing each other, so to speak, and or you could just call it, a couple actors sitting down talking shop, and
yeah, I mean, you could tell they had their points they had to make. Right?
Sure,
like,
yes.
There was it wasn't scripted. It was almost like a podcast, right? Where you have notes.
Sure, yeah.
And then you roll with it.
Yep.
It was scripted to a point, but only you had to cover these topics, and then they could do whatever.
Exactly. Which,
and
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it kind of leads to interesting places, in their conversation. So,
yeah.
So, these points, a couple of these points might have been they're scripted. You know, let's reel the people in a little bit, or you know, yeah, it's hard to tell because these guys are good. Maybe they are treading a little close to the edge and, you know, the deep end here, but the subject of the third season of The Mandalorian came up, and here's what was said.
Are you doing a third season? Have you shot a third season, or are you doing it now?
We haven't shot a third season. So confidentially,
are you like?
No, maybe I shouldn't.
Oh no, maybe.
So anyway, let me tell you what's going on.
No, I know better than anyone.
Say it.
For years, I've had to not tell people about the Star Wars. It's so secretive.
So they are. We're going to be doing a season 3.
That's great. It's so loved. I tell you what it's done is it's sort of for me, because I'm started doing this Kenobi series, and it's similar in the technology, what have you, but it pulled me back into the Star Wars world, the Mandalorian series, in a way I didn't expect. I had my experience doing it in the 90s, and it sort of blew me away how much I loved it.
So barely in the 90s, but
yeah, I know, like the last couple of years of the 90s, but okay, yeah. So
don't overage yourself, right? Like don't ever
exactly.
overage yourself.
That's funny. But I don't know, what do you think about that? You know, there's this whole you know, Pedro Pascal's a little hesitant on this, you know.
I think they're poking fun at it. I think it was intended for him to kind of say, okay, he's on board. This has been a big question. Because there was no official announcement yet that he's coming back for season 3.
Right.
You know, and there's been talk of his departure because of other stuff he's doing.
So, okay. So then if we're going to
further... I think this was a fun way to do it for them. I wouldn't say scripted, but they said, yeah, have a little fun with this.
Okay, but in lieu of what you just said there about Pedro, it's funny the way he put it. You know, shooting hasn't started yet. And then he goes, but there will be a season 3.
He said, but we're doing a season 3.
Okay.
I think that was confirmation. He's coming back.
Okay. Well,
I don't feel like he'd be here right now if he was departing.
True. That is a good point.
I mean, but it's for variety, but still, I don't think they'd be putting him in this position, you know, 2 current series Star Wars actors interviewing each other. I don't think, you know, it would have been signed off on.
Right.
If he was bailing.
True.
So
I've heard other rumors as well, though, like that, you know, the focus might not be so much on Din Djarin as it is on other characters. You know,
which is dumb because it's the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I digress. Like, I'm just gonna do that right away.
That's fine, but I mean, I've heard of, you know, maybe focusing more on Bo-Katan for a little bit, you know, and Din joins in, you know, that sort of thing, maybe, or, you know.
Oh, was this leading to that all along? The Mandalorian.
Well, maybe.
So an actual Mandalorian,
right?
Huh?
Yeah, could be.
How meta.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think they know what they have with the Mandalorian. I don't think they're gonna just, you know, toss it aside. That's for sure.
No. I'm sure he's locked down longer than people think.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, when I see his demeanor when he talks about this stuff, I don't feel like he's bailing anytime soon.
No. I mean, he comes across as you know, loving the show, loving what he's done, and you know, the people he's worked with, and all that. So, yeah.
Like, I understand you want your face on screen and things like that. This is the rumored big hang up, right?
Right.
But I'm sorry, that is a pretty cool suit of armor to be showing up in.
Exactly.
I would wear that with pride.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is a cool set of armor there.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, I'd venture to say it's some of the coolest Mandalorian armor we've seen.
Yeah.
In Star Wars as a whole.
Absolutely. Especially for the fact that we got to see it evolve. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you see before the Beskar and then now a full Beskar suit, and then he got his emblem and
right.
Yeah, I dig it. I wouldn't walk away from that suit.
No.
So I don't think he is either. It's just the internet being the internet, right? Like,
yeah.
It's always got to be controversy. Why is it always controversy? Like,
I don't know.
Nothing can ever be happy on the internet.
Well, there's one thing that makes everybody happy. That's Baby Yoda. So they get into that a little bit in this next clip.
It's a galaxy far, far away. It's a universe of possibility, really. We've got they've got the original movies, the sort of linear nature of those, but also I just love that they and you took it into this different direction, slightly different tone, but in the same world, you know.
It's like all the old and all the new, yeah.
Some old friends and some new friends, and of course, how did you keep the Baby Yodas? It's not called Baby Yoda, Grogu. How did you keep it? How was that kept secret?
Very good.
Thank you. How was it kept secret? Because that didn't get released.
That's the first secret that it may literally be the very first secret that I've ever kept.
Yeah. That was a big one.
So, Ewan gets the attaboy for actually knowing Grogu's name. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
Well, he's not wrong. And Ewan's curiosity is basically all of our curiosities, right? Because this was the best kept secret.
Absolutely.
In probably Star Wars history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot believe that stayed secret.
I know. They went to great lengths. I mean, it was kept from
they sacrificed early marketing and merchandising
yes.
and to keep that secret. And that's admirable. Like,
absolutely.
Because that's the thing right there that was going to sell, and it did. When it finally hit shelves, I mean, in the first days of trying to find Grogu material, it was hard. It was selling out.
Absolutely.
Now you can't go anywhere without seeing it, without picking it up, seeing it, picking it up, whatever.
Yeah. The other thing that it spawned was, everyone doing the homemade Grogu stuff. That was interesting to see. You know, you're not going to give it to us for us to buy. Okay, we'll make it ourselves. You know, ingenuity.
But the immediate following that just gathered, like, that was amazing to see. And it was the first episode.
Yes.
how you keep secret a bombshell in the first episode?
Exactly.
So yeah, that was impressive. And yeah, he asked the question we've all been wanting to ask: how did you do it?
Right. Yeah. Well, if Pedro's not very good at keeping secrets, he did a good job with that one. That's for sure. Of course, he probably knew he was gonna, if he was the leak, it's probably
we know it's you.
A contract hit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did expand on that, and he said that, he had the foresight to see what that was going to be and the excitement that was going to garner. And he didn't want to rob people of that.
Right.
So that made it easy to keep that secret.
Yeah.
And I can understand that.
Yeah, I can get that too.
Because, I mean, the immediate reaction from everybody was astounding.
Yeah, for sure. So, speaking of that species, whatever species that is, Ewan goes on to give us some very disturbing news about Master Yoda.
I was lucky to do my scenes with Yoda with the Yoda puppet, and it was extraordinary because I acted with him. You know, like you say, you were acting with Yoda. I couldn't believe I was acting with Yoda. And then at the end of because there's so many people operating him, and the stage is lifted up, I guess, so they're underneath the floor. We were like literally walking next to each other, and I don't know, he's like alive. And then every time George called cut, he would die, Yoda, because everyone just stops operating him, so he just goes like that. And it was sort of disturbing every time that the end of the scene would come along. And then they replaced him with for our second film and our third film with the digital version of him. And I never felt like it was it's not as endearing, it's not nearly as, and also we know Yoda as a puppet, you know, we know him from the original 3 movies as a puppet. So when it was suddenly computer generated, it didn't feel like Yoda to me anymore, you know?
Yoda died. Every scene.
I can see that being kind of disturbing.
It would be, yeah.
Whoa. Like I was just having a moment, and he just croaked, dude.
Exactly. Ewan still in character. Master Yoda. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Well, I mean, Mark talked about that, right? Like, you know, working with Yoda and, you know, what Frank Oz could do.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it helped his imagination, like, with how good they were.
Exactly.
So, I could understand.
Just don't yell cut.
Right.
If you yell cut, Yoda gets it. So now the second point.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. The second point I've got to disagree with Ewan on. I don't know. The CG Yoda, I kind of liked it. I mean,
ooh.
Yeah, hey.
I don't hear that from OT fans that much, but.
Oh. Every OT fan feels the same way? Really?
Oh, no. I wasn't saying that. I wasn't assuming you all think alike. I was just saying, I don't hear that very often from OT. Like, I hear a lot of complaints about CG Yoda.
Here's the thing.
And
if we wouldn't have had CG Yoda, we would have never had the Yoda we saw fighting Dooku and fighting Palpatine the way he did.
Right. That's where I was going to go with this. Is like, these are all people that are saying they hated that, right? And when Yoda started flipping around and things like that, they thought it was so dumb.
No.
They're lying. Okay?
That was awesome. The
this
crowd
is a hindsight thing where
theater.
they start complaining for the sake of complaining, because I was there. All right? I was there in 2002 in the theaters.
Me too.
And y'all were cheering.
Yeah.
You didn't hate it till later, when it was like all of a sudden cool to hate the prequels. Y'all were cheering, and like I see these posts on like Reddit, things like that, about the boos in the theater when Yoda fought Dooku. I'm like, you're full of crap.
Yeah, whoever said that is full of crap.
I went to multiple showings. Not once did I hear a grievance.
Right.
This is all later on when it became cool to complain.
Well, I never complained about the prequels, so I've always enjoyed them. They have their flaws, yes, but I've always enjoyed them. I gotta admit, I enjoyed, when it comes to the prequels specifically, I enjoyed the CG Yoda as opposed to the original puppet Yoda in Episode 1.
Well,
so
much like the original trilogy, where people nowadays would explain the flaws of the film. That's the beauty of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You explain the flaws of the film because of modern ideals, right?
Right.
And then with the prequels, they kind of reversed it, right? And they made flaws out of traditional ideals. But yeah, it's an odd thing.
Right. Well, I don't know. Just interesting.
Yep.
I'd never heard that anecdote before about Yoda.
Just dying.
Just dying. And then that was, definitely an interesting little nugget there. Speaking of nuggets, Ewan gives us another one here, which is kind of interesting.
I don't think I'd be giving away a secret. Maybe I did two. I've done.
Be careful.
And I'll be so careful. Well, it's all right. There's no secret to when this series is being set, but I had to walk past two stormtroopers. I realized I've never acted with a stormtrooper because I did mine were clones, It was the clone army.
Yeah.
So I'd never seen a stormtrooper. So when I was walking past in this scene, I turned around and I was like 6 years old again. Like,
doesn't it do something to you? Doesn't it complete
insane? Like I was like feeling like I was 6 again or something because I was so close to one. I got a fright, so crazy. And then I had to ask someone, were there stormtroopers in my films? Because I don't think I've seen a stormtrooper for real before. And they were like, no, they weren't stormtroopers. They were clones.
So, Obi-Wan sees some stormtroopers.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of relate to that, right? Like, so the first time I saw like a movie quality costume Darth Vader, right?
Oh yeah.
You kind of get a chill. It's like,
oh sure.
Oh, I'd never seen that before. In person.
Right.
And if he's never seen a stormtrooper like that, I can understand.
You can understand him getting a fright?
Yeah. For sure.
That's funny.
You get those chills. I think that's what he means. You get that chill, right?
Absolutely.
Like, wow.
Yep.
This is happening. And I could see stormtroopers being that same thing. Like I had with the first time seeing a movie quality, like a, really well done Darth Vader.
Right. Someone who's actually the right height and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's just that presence, right?
Yeah, for sure.
When someone pulls it off, you're like, ooh, am I about to get choked?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't say the wrong thing.
I mean, the right person doing that Vader in that costume, you feel that way. You're like, oh, I'm going to just pinch my throat here a little bit. Like, make sure everything's good.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to say the wrong thing for the next 10 minutes or so.
But
so yeah, that presence it's something.
Yeah.
And even stormtroopers do the same thing. When you see stormtroopers that are really good, you feel that.
Absolutely.
So especially if you've never seen it before. Like he was around clones and the clone versus stormtrooper demeanor is very different.
True.
The clones had an air of like protection, right? You felt safe around them all the way up until the end of episode 3. But
right.
I mean, for the beginning, you felt like, wow, these are in, we've had the Clone Wars since then. It's like, wow, clones, they're there to protect.
Yep.
But a stormtrooper, yeah, this might not end well.
Yeah. And, okay. I know this is really nothing, but I do think it's funny that Ewan's dropping these little nuggets on us, right? A couple weeks ago.
Yep.
He says, well, maybe Obi-Wan's not necessarily wearing the Jedi robes in this. It's like, oh, okay. And now he's got to pass by a couple stormtroopers. He's acting with stormtroopers. It's like, okay. So I know it's not really giving us much, but it's more
right,
than...
we know there's stormtroopers on Tatooine.
Yeah. But you would think that he'd be able to avoid them to some degree. Something's going on to where he has to, I'm not going to say interact, but he has to be in the same proximity as the stormtroopers, which is an interesting thing in and of itself. So, it's leading me to believe that this is maybe more of a, I don't know, like an action maybe type story as opposed to a, it's all in Obi-Wan's head, hiding out going through PTSD from everything that happened. So it's kind of what I'm thinking.
If anyone dropped a spoiler on that, it was Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh yeah, true.
The next battle.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
He's gonna fight Vader?
I know.
Think he drops a hello there?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he says General Kenobi at that point. Be like Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like a General Kenobi though. That'd be pretty solid.
Yeah, sure.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, it's the part we look forward to every week. The Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch.
So we're talking season 1, episode 6, Decommissioned. Doug?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
This was a good episode.
Yeah.
I dug it.
This was solid. They haven't missed yet, in my opinion. And that concerns me a little bit.
Why does it concern you?
Because usually you miss early.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You miss early, it has no effect.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like they've missed yet. They've had slower episodes, sure.
Yeah.
But they haven't missed yet.
Right.
And this episode was no different. This episode actually picked up the pace from the last couple episodes. The last couple were a little slower.
Yes.
But you could tell they were building towards something, and this one sees that building happen even more.
Yes. Absolutely. I love that. Okay. We've all noticed these things, right? Guess we can start getting into it, right? We've all noticed these things about Omega. She like in a crunch, she can be a great shot. She can, figure out how to get the whatever that part was they needed for the ship, from the power hungry animal thing. And just whatever. She has these moments that make you think, there's something about this kid. But yet, at the beginning of this episode, she's trying to shoot that Zagarian bow, and she can't quite get it.
No, and you know what? I'm starting to think less and less that this is force power, like has been kind of hinted at.
Right.
And I'm thinking more and more, it's just that clone DNA, right? Like,
could be.
When a battle situation hits and it's on the line, performance is there.
Right.
Thrive in battle.
Yeah.
When they're slowed down and thinking about it, not so much. In battle, nailed it.
Right. I just like that she's not automatically good at everything, right?
Agreed.
And she's learning. She's learning with this bow. She's
I want to know how they're going to pull this toy off.
Oh, the bow?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Because I like this thing.
I mean, that lends itself to a Nerf gun, as far as I'm concerned, right off.
But it's got to be compact.
Yep.
They're like, oh, shit hit the fan. Let's go. And it's this crazy looking bow.
Yeah.
That is a cool weapon they've come up with there.
Right.
I dug that thing. So, not to deviate too much from where you were headed.
No.
But Doug, you have a daughter that's into archery.
Yes.
And I know she watches Star Wars with you.
Yes.
What did she think about this?
She thought it was cool. She she agreed with what Sid said, and she's like, yes. My noodle arms make it hard to shoot sometimes.
I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was funny.
I kind of thought about that and I kind of laughed. Like Star Wars has a funny way of always hitting on something everybody can relate to.
Oh yeah.
And I immediately thought of that. I was like, wow, Doug has a daughter that shoots archery, and here you go. There's some archery in Star Wars all of a sudden.
Right.
Like, they seem to always do that. Like they always hit on something that everybody can relate to. And I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
I like that she had some humor about that. Like, oh yeah, my noodle arms.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that, right? You need that strong pull and holding it.
Holding it steady is the hard part. Yes.
Yep. Once you pull, steady's not as easy as it seems.
Exactly.
All right. You were headed somewhere before I rudely interrupted.
Not necessarily. I just, that part about Omega at the beginning there, that struck me because, there's been a lot of, online chatter and we've talked about, certain things, it's like, did she have foresight in Crosshair's defection from the Bad Batch and was it the Force, that she was seeing it through and, these other things, like I said, nails him with a blaster shot, in the moment where it counted, that kind of stuff. And yeah.
So the crazy thing here is, like, not to interrupt you again, but I'm going to. But the crazy thing is here is, like, we're seeing her kind of exhibit different attributes that coincide with each member of the Bad Batch.
Right.
This force, like intuition, kind of like Tech. Like Tech sees things that other people don't because I thought it seemed obvious.
Right.
We've seen her track like Hunter.
Yes.
I just wonder if like this is where this is going. Maybe she's kind of getting the best of what this group has to offer.
That's possible.
Maybe that's what they were going for. Like this group was super effective. So what if we could get all of that into another clone?
Right. That's been the other side of the speculation, is that she's like a culmination of all of these guys' abilities.
Right.
On the force ability bit though, this isn't really force ability stuff, but it's funny when you think about it. Her archery lesson there, she's kind of getting almost like I'm gonna put in air quotes here, Jedi training moment, because she says, I was doing just fine until those two showed up.
Right.
And the lesson was you need to be able to put outside distractions aside and focus.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of with the blast shield down, how am I going to see anything?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting how in Star Wars you can learn the same lesson from different angles.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. So,
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I dug that. That was cool.
No, that character is definitely adding some depth to this series.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise it would just be, clones fighting battles. Right.
Yeah. Which would be cool and all, but this definitely takes it to another level.
Yeah, this character was a good decision. And it's growing on me.
Yes.
Definitely growing on me. Took me a little longer than you, but but I never felt like, oh wow, this character's a waste of time or anything, because I don't want to make the mistake that people made with Ahsoka, right? Like,
Right.
there were people saying Ahsoka was a waste of time, and here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna wait this out. Like,
Exactly. I think we're going someplace good.
yeah, I think we're going someplace good, and the growth is really, really fun. And I find myself, after watching this week's episode, I'm kind of wondering what Omega is going to do next week.
Right?
I kind of almost shifted my focus here,
Yeah,
but not
absolutely.
100% because I am concerned about one other thing.
Yeah, what's that?
Wrecker.
Oh, yes. We actually get a deeper glimpse into what's going on, didn't we?
Yeah, this is what we were thinking
Yep.
was happening, and to see that really show up.
Yeah, good soldiers, Joe.
Oh man, when that started happening, I'm watching this and I'm like, no, not Wrecker. Like, I knew it was coming, but I'm just like, no.
Right.
This guy's like the Smash guy, but he's also a teddy bear. It's like, I don't want to see this happen to Wrecker.
Absolutely.
So watching that was like, it was, and I know it's just foreshadowing that this is going to get worse.
Yeah. I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Oh, I think it'll be next week.
It could be.
I'm just hoping Tech's made some advancements because, dude, Wrecker, really?
Yeah, I know. Hopefully Tech's device that he was coming up with for these chips was able to disable them. It'd be great.
Yeah, I hope moving forward after that, Wrecker figures out a way to not hit his head so often.
Right. Yeah. I think it's been, what, every episode? Nearly?
Almost. He gets hit in the head a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, chip or no chip. I mean, just concussions alone. Like,
Exactly. Hey, he actually took a blaster bolt in this one, too.
yeah, that actually, like, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, are they just going to kill him like that? Like,
Right.
is that what we're doing here? Oh, this one actually, like, I think that's what made this episode so fun is there was some real curveballs.
Right. Definitely some curveballs.
You know, and they threw so many, right? You didn't know which one was the actual curveball because you had a moment where Omega's in danger.
Right.
Wrecker is about to lose it.
Yep.
You know, Hunter and which sister was that?
Rafa, right?
Rafa, yeah. Hunter and Rafa were not a great spot.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's something we haven't touched on yet. The return of the Martez sisters.
Right,
Yes.
right. So Rafa and Trace.
Yes.
And, like, you're thinking, wow, okay, if they're throwing this many, someone's not going to make it out here. Like, historically, when Star Wars does this, I mean, one of these is not going to end well.
Yes.
So that put me into panic mode a little bit. Like, which one of these is not going to go well? Or, like, Hunter seems in, like, the, least amount of danger.
Yeah. So
He's
far.
in a bad spot, but seems like he could get out of it.
Right.
Omega's in a super bad spot.
Yeah. Falling into an incinerator is a pretty
Right.
bad spot.
Wrecker's in a really bad spot. Problem with Wrecker's really bad spot is that puts everyone else in a really bad spot.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm not quite sure how that's going to play out. Because Order 66 was, get rid of all the Jedi. But then there's also this component of be loyal to the Empire.
Right.
So, it's hard to say.
There's going to be a treason issue here if he flips.
Yeah. But, so, yes, we are after a what was it? A command droid?
Mm-hmm.
And this is apparently the thought is these command droids will have some sort of insight as to how to fight against the Imperial clone army.
Right.
So, and there's apparently value in that. Apparently a lot, since we have multiple teams coming after this, droid head. But, man, I don't want to jump all the way to the end, but I'm gonna.
You're gonna.
So, who do you think the Martez sisters are working for?
Fulcrum.
Yeah?
Yep.
What version?
Rebels version. Ahsoka.
Okay, so.
It was that clothing.
Yeah, I did notice that. So she's disguised somehow.
Yeah.
Because
it looks like it's the same clothing that Fulcrum appeared in talking to Hera the first time you saw Fulcrum on screen.
So
the Hollow.
When so number one, I think it was Rafa says R7 pull him up on Hollow or whatever. So they really don't know who they're talking to.
Right.
Okay. That would make sense then. Because there's lots of speculation as to who that might be. Could be, some people are thinking Bail Organa. It's funny. Ahsoka, well, no, not funny. I mean, she'd be right in it right away, wouldn't she? But, okay.
So, the thing about Fulcrum was, remember when you first heard Fulcrum's voice?
It was modulated, yeah.
It was modulated, didn't sound male, female, one way or the other.
It's true.
So, pull him up. Yeah. Did they say him or did they say him? Like
him. It was him.
Like them. Him.
No, it was him.
Pull him up.
Yep.
See how that works?
I do. So yeah, that was one thing. The other thing that I'll say at the end, that personally, I felt like this was a shorter episode, and it felt like a shorter episode to me because I feel like, we had this opening where Omega's training, and then Sid comes in, gives him the job. We're not sure if we're working with you. She's like, you're working with me, right? So, right. But I would have liked to have had a postscript, like a post, little 45 seconds at the end of the episode where they go back, they tell Sid what happened. Sid's not happy, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
they kill Sid, move on.
I don't know if that would be the way I go here, but but that I felt like that was missing from the episode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, the resolution to the whole quest.
Right. Because, there was totally the episode was very fulfilling throughout, right? We have this whole battle in this decommissioned factory, and very reminiscent of episode 2, the droid factory. And lots of stuff going on, fast paced, a lot to keep up with. It was awesome. I just felt like that one bit was missing from the very end.
Yeah, and I do gotta ask.
Yeah.
Got my opinion on who that was. We got what people are talking about. Who do you think that was, Doug?
Oh, well, I'm not sure. I'm kind of at a wait and see moment. You know, I've no. I talked about this plenty of times with Star Wars. I am quite content with just letting things play out as they go along.
Boo.
Oh, fine.
Okay.
So-
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
Let me rephrase the question. If you had to take a guess, what would your guess be?
Okay. Only because of the bring him up on Hollow. Only because of that, my guess would be maybe Darth Maul.
Oh,
Because we're getting into the point where
that's a curveball.
he's going to be running was it? Oh, Black Sun, right?
That's a pretty. So they were pretty convinced they were fighting against the Empire.
Yes.
You think that's Darth Maul's pitch?
I mean, it's possible because, Darth Maul, there's no love for the Emperor at this point. So, who knows? Maybe he wants to know how to take out the clone army so that he can take out the Emperor.
Wow.
I mean, it's just a
That's
thought.
the first Darth Maul pitch I heard.
But I mean, timeline's right. Could be.
That's definitely right. Darth Maul. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of Filoni style.
It could be. I mean, the only thing about Maul that would kind of bug me a little bit is that it would be, oh, we got the big Darth Maul reveal again. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
It kind of fits timeline wise. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, so my thing was I thought of the name Fulcrum, right?
Right.
What's a fulcrum?
Like leverage point.
A fulcrum. Like what's a fulcrum? Like when you think of the definition of a fulcrum, what is it?
I don't know. You got me lost. Like leverage point, like the
Yes,
yeah.
it's your leverage point. It's your pivot point for leverage, right?
Yes.
Even early on, that just makes sense, right?
Oh yeah.
That name, who's going to be the one putting the pieces together? It's your leverage, right?
Right.
So that was why I made that immediate jump. I say the clothing lined up, but I mean that was a pretty weak comparison to make because you got a millimeter of what their clothing looks like.
Oh yeah. Not much.
Yeah, not much. I mean, it was that was loose at best.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? It's all speculation at this point. But,
right. I think Bail Organa is definitely another solid, but I don't think he'd be putting himself out there so much.
Right.
If he put himself out there that blatantly and I'll just say it. I mean, Rafa and Trace they're small timers.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You don't go revealing your face as a senator in the Empire at this point.
That's true.
And expect not to get caught. So I think that rules him out. That's just a poor decision on his part.
Right. And, I would think that Bail Organa is a far better judge of character because we do see at the end says, hey, we have the information from the droid and there's this batch of clones and I know where they live. Just thought you might like to know, right? That's the kind of thing you tell something like that to like a Darth Maul. That also leads me to, Now, on the other hand, if it's Ahsoka, telling Ahsoka that could also be, hey, something I thought you might like to know. I guess the part that
hey, if anybody's interested in a rogue group of clones, it's Ahsoka.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she had the same kind of feeling towards clones as Anakin did.
Right.
She got to know them. Her relationship with Rex, things like that. Like,
yep.
So Ahsoka would feel for clones.
Yeah, for sure.
And Ahsoka, Trace, and Rafa already have a relationship.
That is true. That is true.
So it wouldn't even necessarily need to be Fulcrum. It could just flat out be Ahsoka.
Yep. Now, let's flip this over on his face here. Who did Sid get the job from? Right? So maybe Trace and Rafa are working
that
with
could be Darth
Ahsoka.
Maul.
That could be Darth Maul. She's already worked with Bib Fortuna. She's already dealing with the mobsters, the underworld. So that's a distinct possibility.
I really like this idea of Ahsoka and Darth Maul working against each other.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? It's I love where all this could be going. It's
I for one think we definitely saw Ahsoka's first appearance, via her shoulder.
right.
I mean, what's crazy is she's already the most consistent character in the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, by a lot. Pretty wild to think about that.
Pretty wild.
Padawan, and everybody was like, "Oh, really? Anakin didn't have a Padawan."
Exactly.
We need more Ahsoka.
So, okay, I got to ask you this before we get out of here. There's a couple things about this episode that just made me smile and crack up a little bit. Hey, is there an echo in here?
Yeah,
I'm Echo. That was funny. Then the other one, how they make you down to Corellia. He's like, what, this old trick? Works every time. That was hilarious. Now, where that goes a little deeper, when you think about it, is, okay, these guys are clones. They know this trick where you attach your small ship to the hull of a larger ship, right? To avoid detection.
Corellia?
That's where they're heading to Corellia for the droid decommissioning factory.
Oh, okay.
So they attach the ship to the hull of a larger ship, and they're clones. And when Han Solo tries this trick in Episode 5, Boba Fett, who's also a clone, is onto him.
Yeah.
Huh. I like how all of that just lines up.
Dave.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You tricky bastard.
That's what I'm saying. That kind of stuff right there, that's just good stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the synergy, fantastic.
Right. So
yeah, I'm ready for next week.
Yep, me too. Especially because Hunter gives the data spike to Rafa, and so I think it was Rafa, right?
Rafa,
one of those sisters, and says, "You're going to do something more important with it than we are," and how is Sid going to take that? I wish we would have got that, but she can't be happy with these guys at this point now. One job they did good, the next job they blew it. So,
do you think they say that's what happened?
Sid might not get all the details, but
they failed.
And Sid's not going to be happy with that.
Oh, time to kill Sid.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just thinking.
The second time I got here this episode.
I know. Hey, judging by how Sid can handle a bow, it might be harder than you think.
True. Those were solid.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, I dug this episode. It was, I first heard, I think I actually heard from you before I saw it. The Martez sisters were back, and I thought, oh, okay. But I got to say,
Well, so their prior appearance in the Clone Wars was not bad.
not bad, not great.
It just, you wondered what they were bringing them in for.
Exactly.
And I
if
think
it's-
we got our answer.
If it's paying off now, great. But
I think they were meant to do more.
yeah, for sure.
And I mean, at this point, this episode alone, they already did far more than they've done in the past.
Yes, it's true.
And their characters now become much more significant, which is good, because when you bring in characters like that and they play such a prominent role, you expect them to mean something.
Yeah,
And they were very prominent in that Ahsoka arc, and they just didn't really.
yeah. They didn't go anywhere at that point.
So I'm glad to see that they do now,
Right.
because I didn't think they were bad characters.
No.
I like the characters, and they do deserve to mean something.
Yeah.
You know, they were floating that boundary between filler character and characters that mean something, and now they mean something.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see more good things out of them. And I got a feeling their path might cross with the clones again, the Bad Batch.
Oh, without a doubt. With Ahsoka in tow.
Right.
I mean, I'm just calling my shot.
Yeah.
All right. If you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.